All right, everyone. Hello and welcome in. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful Wednesday evening. And because it is Wednesday, it is once again time to do the weekly NFL Pick'em video, as we are going to do every Wednesday for the rest of the 2021 regular season. So if you're new here, behind me, this is the whiteboard. This is where I make all of my picks using a little team pennant to indicate which team that I will be selecting to be the winner for this week for every matchup, and we will keep track of how I'm doing throughout the season. After 1 week of picking NFL games, it's not really an indicator of where this is going, but it was a pretty good week. I finished 10-6 after week 1, so I'm hoping to carry over that success into this week. Just as a quick recap, the teams that I picked correctly were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Seattle Seahawks, Chargers, Panthers, Texans, Chiefs, Dolphins, Broncos, and Rams. The teams that I chose incorrectly were the Falcons, Bills, Vikings, Titans, Packers, and Ravens. In hindsight, it's a little weird to look back on the games that you missed. Like, I never could have guessed that the Falcons were going to get that destroyed. I never thought that the Titans would be that incapable of, hanging with the Arizona Cardinals. And I honestly thought that the Vikings were playing a winnable game against the Bengals. But as I said before, as I've said in several videos leading up to today, we don't know the identities of these teams yet, and I don't think that we're going to completely know them until week 4. So remember, week 1, it's a good indication of where things are going, but it doesn't mean that the entire season is a wash or the entire season is headed for trophies and grandeur. It's just not something that is indicative of where you're going to end up. You can make adjustments and you can go on runs, and teams get hot late and things happen, things change, whatever the reason may be. So let's get into making week 2 picks. Hopefully I get to carry over the success for this week, as I've said already. And of course, in the comments, let me know what you think of the picks that I'm about to make. How many do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Who is your surprise team of the week? The one that I'm most proud of last week was the Houston Texans. I don't know how many people picked that team to win their game. So hopefully we find some more here, and it goes much better than 10-6, even though 10-6 is pretty good. All right, so let's start with the Thursday night football game between the Washington football team and the New York Giants. This is going to be easy. I'm going to go with the Washington football team for a variety of reasons, but just to break it down quickly, Daniel Jones is a turnover machine. Saquon Barkley is being brought along rather slowly after his injury that he had last year. I think he only had 10 rushes last week, and he didn't make the most of them. And then on the other side, we have a very stingy defense of the Washington football team led by Chase Young. And then, the wild card is going to be Tyler. Is it Taylor or Tyler? I think it's Taylor Heinicke. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Heinicke gets the NFL start that he's been dreaming of. He will be the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. I think Fitzmagic is probably done after this year, headed towards retirement after the hip injury that he sustained last week. But I'm going with the Washington football team to win this one over the Giants. Next, we have the Bengals and the Bears. The Bengals humbled us all last week with their win over the Minnesota Vikings in overtime. The Bears looked awful, and I think they're going to continue to look awful until they make Justin Fields the starter for this team. So I'm going to go with the Bengals starting a surprise 0-2 in 2021, or 2-0, excuse me, a surprise 2-0 in 2021. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. I got cute last week and picked the Texans to win over the Jaguars, but the Browns are not the Jaguars. The Browns just went toe-to-toe with the defending AFC champions. The Texans are nowhere near that good. I'm going to go with the Browns to win this one, and they'll start 1-1 on the season. Next, we have the Rams and the Colts. I think the Colts are in for a long haul, although they did look semi-decent last week with Carson Wentz finding Zach Pascal. It's just going to depend on the running back distribution, in my opinion. How much are they going to feed Jonathan Taylor? Nyman Hines looks like a very reliable weapon in this offense for Carson Wentz. But still, I think the Rams are too. I think this might, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to make those comparisons, because maybe this Rams team could revisit the greatest show on turf. Maybe, just maybe. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, even Higbee looked really good in their Sunday night win. Who did they play? I forget already. I'm going with the Rams. Long story short, Rams over Colts. Next, we have the Bills and the Dolphins. Dolphins get a surprise win over the Patriots last week. I did pick them, but I still feel that was kind of a stretch. The Bills go toe-to-toe with the Steelers, and they can't muster out a win. That is a very formidable Steelers team, so I don't blame them. I'm going to go with the Bills here to rebound, because I think that the Bills have a little bit better defense than the New England Patriots. And, Tua played okay last week, but he's still not where I want him to be. I want him to be finished as a top 15 quarterback, because I don't know why. It's just one of those things. There was a few years ago where I was like, Josh Allen, he's got it. And everybody kind of laughed and was like, are you serious? What do you see in the kid? And then he had a near MVP type season. So I'm hoping for the same thing for Tua. I don't know. I've kind of hitched my wagon to the kid, but Jalen Waddle looks good. Will Fuller will come back from suspension. But I think the Buffalo Bills are going to right the ship this week. They're going to avoid the 0-2 start. So we're going to have a lot of 1-1 for the AFC East this week. Speaking of the AFC East, we have the Patriots and the Jets. This is too easy. I'm going with Bill Belichick and the Patriots salivating over the opportunity to face off with a rookie quarterback that doesn't have a very good offensive line now that Mekhi Becton has gone to IR. That's an easy one. Next, we have the 49ers and the Eagles. It doesn't matter what running back goes into the Kyle Shanahan offense. If it's Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Trey Sermon, and now the newly found Elijah Mitchell. It doesn't matter. Remember the 1,000-yard seasons from guys like Olandis Gary and Mike Anderson that would run in the Shanahan offense? They're a dime a dozen. Every team wishes that they could just plug and play a running back. And that's what the 49ers are going to do. The Eagles looked great last week. I'm going to think they come back down to earth a little bit against a really good 49ers team. And I got the 49ers with the win here. Next, we have the Steelers and Raiders. I don't care how dramatic that Monday night win for the Raiders was. That's lightning in a bottle. You're not going to catch it 2 games in a row. I'm going to go with the safe pick and take the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. The question is going to be whether or not they can contain Darren Waller, since it appears that Derek Carr doesn't want to throw to anybody else until it matters the most. So it's going to come down to that, but I'm going to go with the safe choice in the Steelers. Next, we have the Saints and the Panthers. I really want to pick the Panthers. I really do. I really, really do. But it's hard to do that when you just saw what the Saints did to the Green Bay Packers, albeit in Florida, which I don't think that they were prepared for. But I'm going to go with the Saints here. I'm going to go with the Saints starting 2-0. Panthers are going to give them a game. I think they'll give them more of a game than what the Packers gave them last week. Next, we have the Broncos and the Jaguars. Jaguars might be terrible. They probably are terrible. When you lose to the Texans, who everybody kind of thought before the season started was going to be 0-16, or at least the number one contender to finish 0-16 this year, you give them their first win of the season right out of the gate, squash all of those prop bets. Jaguars just might be bad, and a lot of the stuff that they're going through has me confused. So what doesn't have me confused is Teddy Bridgewater starting with a win in week 1. He's going to be starting 2-0. So go Teddy Bridgewater. I think the Broncos are doing the right thing this year. It's just, even though before the season started, I thought Drew Lock should have been the starter, but it's more than that. It's more than that for the Denver Broncos. Next, we have our game, which is the Arizona Cardinals versus the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be optimistic. And I know nobody else is going to do this, or at least not many people are going to do this, especially after yesterday's video where I was like, hey, everybody, let's calm the F down just a little bit. Y'all don't like being told to be calm. And I learned that in yesterday's video when I gave you 5 reasons to sort of chillax, and nobody wants to chillax. Everybody's slamming the panic button. I'm going to say that the Vikings somehow figure it out and somehow they make it work, because 10 penalties in the first half, that can't happen twice. It just can't. It's like in Apollo 13 when the guy's like, what's going on? It's like, it's reading as a quadruple failure. That can't happen. It's got to be instrumentation. This can't happen twice. We can't have the same debacle 2 times in a row. So I'm going to be bold and optimistic, and I'm going to say the Vikings steal one. This is going to be the Cardinals trap game in Arizona. Minnesota Vikings start 1-1. Next, we have the Falcons and the Bucks. Yikes. Falcons look bad. And then you're going up against the defending world champions. Sorry, can't pick the Falcons. Next, we have the Chargers and the Cowboys. This should be the most fun game in terms of offense. Should be lots of points here. But I think the Chargers have the better defense with Derwin James, Bosa, that linebacker they picked from Oklahoma the other year, whose name escapes me. It's Kenneth Murray, I think, something like that. Sorry. Can't remember everybody that plays for every team that isn't in Minnesota. I'm going with the Chargers over the Cowboys. Next, we have the Seahawks and the Titans. Interesting. This is a good spot for the Titans to bounce back. The problem is that it's going to be on the road. I think this is in Seattle. And Russell Wilson, how do you stop that connection with Tyler Lockett? As soon as you do, maybe he switches over to DK Metcalf. He finds the new tight end in the end zone. Chris Carson, formidable running back. I think the Seahawks are too much. The Titans are going to be shell-shocked to start 0-2 this season. That's just a prediction that we're running with. Next, we have the Chiefs and the Ravens for Sunday Night Football. Ravens are very banged up. I just saw the injury report that came out for them today. They're banged up across the board in the secondary offensive line. They're on running back number 5 right now. Lamar Jackson, the fumbles are not something that I think that fans need to worry about. I don't think that that's indicative of the season that he's about to have. I think that's just, a one-off game for him. They just really got to get the passing game going, and, whether it's Sammy Watkins or Rashad Bateman coming back from injury soon, or Marquise Brown, who is unfortunately on the injury report, somebody's got to step up. And maybe it'll be Mark Andrews. I think Mark Andrews probably feasts. But unfortunately, the Chiefs are too good. Chiefs are too damn good. And I'm not picking against them until they lose. So I'm going with the Chiefs to win on Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football. Who scheduled this? The Lions and the Packers. 2 0-1 teams. One of them fought back tooth and nail. And then the Packers rolled over and died last week. So I think the Packers are going to be surprised to find this Dan Campbell team to be more of a formidable opponent than they're used to, because what we saw last week with the Lions, basically dead in the water halfway through the game against the 49ers, and Dan Campbell resurrects their mojo and energy and gets them back in the game, and they even took somebody's knee. Raheem Mostert, IR, out for the year. Dan Campbell was serious when he says that they were going to bite a knee off. They fucking took one already. So Packers beware. This could be bad, but I'm going to go with the Packers, and I'm going to say that this is a rebound game for them. They will start 1-1 after a victory over the Lions for Monday Night Football. So those are my choices. Those are my reasonings. This is the board. That is week 2 for the NFL Pick'em series. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.